So an interesting challenge in Southern California has been made to LeBron James for much bigger stakes off the basketball court. I'm going to talk about it. I welcome you right here to the 954sports.com YouTube channel. I'm Matt Levine. Thank you so much for paying a visit. I hope your week is off to an awesome start. A tragic event in Southern California this past weekend. If you haven't seen the video footage, I'll show you it. It is graphic. Just giving you the disclaimer. What happened at the Compton train station in Los Angeles, California on Saturday night was two deputies. They were in their cruiser doing patrol, and they were shot at by this man right here. You see him as he pulled the trigger and like a coward. That's about the most cowardly act you can have. And in a world where there have been an onslaught of cowardly acts in 2020, unfortunately, that one may take the cake. With that said, the challenge to LeBron James has been made by Alex Villanueva, again, the head of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. And there you see it. He says, as he was interviewed on a Los Angeles radio station earlier Monday, this challenge is to LeBron James. I want you to match and double that reward. And I'll talk about the reward in just a moment, Villanueva said. I know you care about law enforcement. You expressed a very interesting statement about your perspective on race relations and on officer-involved shootings and the impact that it has had on the African American community. Now, the reward that Mr. Villanueva is speaking about to Mr. James is this. It's a $100,000 reward, as you can see it there, issued by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. It's a special bulletin signed off by Mr. Villanueva as they are seeking information on the two deputies ambushed in patrol vehicle. They say the suspect, 28 to 30 years old, wearing dark clothing. Very hard to see exactly in that video, who he is and make a firm identity of who he could be, I guess, for what law enforcement needs to do to investigate. Enough of that, the tragic incident. And the two officers, they say it's a miracle, one 31 years old, 24 years old, a man and woman, respectively, miraculously have survived, and they're doing their best to pull through what is just the most awful of awful incidents you can see played out in what is definitely a crazy world right now. And again, here's a statement that Mr. Villanueva makes. And if you take a look at the back end of it, right? And he says, I know you care about law enforcement. You've expressed a very interesting statement about your perspective on race relations and officer-involved shootings and the impact that it has had, again, on the African American community. Well, this is after the incident in Kenosha, Wisconsin with Jacob Blake, who we all know about by now, right? And this was LeBron's take. And I talked about this in another video that I'll talk about in a moment. And this is his tweet following what went down with Blake, the aftermath, what went down after the incident with Blake being shot in Kenosha. LeBron's first tweet. And you all wonder why we say what we say about the police. Someone please tell me, WTF, what the blankety blank is this? Exactly, another black man being targeted, this blankety blank. well, actually one blank, it is so wrong and sad, feel so sorry for him, his family, and our people. Our people. We want justice. So, my guess is that what Mr. Villanueva of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, he doesn't specifically indicate, but that's some of what I'm sure he's talking about. Many of LeBron's various tweets, as he has been an advocate, if you can call it that, on social justice. Now, it's an interesting challenge because LeBron has not only been an advocate on social justice, I mean, you can get what you want to get. I'll put it back up there from that tweet. I'm giving you my interpretation, right? And I'm hopeful that you're joining me for this video and enjoying it, or at least forming an opinion, maybe not enjoying it, but I'm giving you my take, but you're certainly open to your interpretation and comprehending it the way you want. But he's been outspoken, James, on social justice issues, and of course, Black Lives Matters. And that was the reopening of the NBA season in Orlando in the bubble. And LeBron has made no secret that he's going to voice his opinion. Well, in this case, he's being challenged by a big-time member of law enforcement who is dealing with immense stress, as all the men in blue throughout the country are dealing with, and their leaders in these respective cities, regardless of their being blue or red, the men in blue, the women in blue, the blue lives that matter, they're taking a beating right now. And this cowardly incident by this chicken expletive in Los Angeles really is, unfortunately, almost the icing on the cake. It's just an unbelievable incident. So what I see is Alex Villanueva, again, the head of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I love the badge with the California black bear right there. Or I should say the patch, right? Their emblem, their logo. He's extending an olive branch to King James. And in essence saying to LeBron, put your money where your mouth is. He's challenging him. Match the reward. And I think, to use the term again, in essence, he's really saying to him, you can do a lot of good by doing this. Believe you be, and me. LeBron can afford it. He has plenty of money. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is asking LeBron to work with them, put the money up. The reward, by the way, which is listed there as $100,000, is now up to $175K. A couple of private donors chipped in to make up that additional $175,000. So I'm sure if the reward jumped to $350 with LeBron matching it, right? My math is correct. I've said this before. I'm about as bad in math as anyone could be. Barely got through it. That's a story for another day, which I've told time and time again. As I used to say back in the day, I barely passed dumb math, like basic math. But if my math is right, the $350,000, well, we know the money. It's a drop in the bucket for LeBron. It's not my money, so it's easy to say that. And I know the guy earns his money. He's a great basketball player. I'm not going to talk about that. I will not knock the man's game. It's as good as you get. But he's been very one-sided and divisive in his statements on social justice in support of his causes and his beliefs. He could really put the clamps on that divisiveness. Bring two sides together. Maybe puts an end, put the clamps, the brakes, maybe temporarily on some of the violence. Maybe he can be a mediator. The stuff that Nobel Prize winners and candidates are made of. Right? Play the Kissinger role here. Be able to step in, put the money out there, show the other side that he's with law enforcement and he believes that both sides, not that he's with law enforcement, but that he can work with law enforcement for the better halves of the two parties. And he can work by bringing them together, and maybe we can have a little peace. I think it's a great opportunity for law enforcement and a mega superstar in sports and culture, which King James certainly, I believe, he believes he is. You know, that'd be something for LeBron. It'd be something for law enforcement. It would go a long way. And again, that's what I think that Alex Villanueva, in his statement here, there you see him in the nice picture there, his headshot, saying, again, put your money where your mouth is, help end some of the divisiveness, the separation, help us bridge the gap between these two sides and all that's going on in America beyond Los Angeles, California. And LeBron, you know, he's a hero to many for what he does on the basketball court. And he's a hero to many for his stances on social justice, I guess. There's a lot of fans out there for LeBron on all fronts, is what I'm saying. You can't deny that. But he can be a big hero to both sides and help broker maybe some peace and some goodwill. Wouldn't that be something? How about that, LeBron? Good old taste of Americana. This country that gave you the opportunity to create the life for yourself and work. Man has worked as hard as anyone, I believe, in show business to craft his trade and get to the top of his game. But those opportunities have been provided for him here in the land of the red, white, and blue. And I love that backboard. It's on the bucket list to get a backboard and put a hoop like that up in my backyard. Love it. And LeBron's reputation, not for nothing, is taking a hit. There were those on the other side who oppose his stances, who don't like his involvement with Marxist type of extreme type of policies or politics. Maybe his involvement with China. There's a video I did here on 954sports.com that highlights that and highlights LeBron's ability to make a big-time living off slave labor. Slave labor that goes on with the Uyghur Muslims in China, taken from one province to another and put in camps to do manual labor. You see the statistic there. You can read it for yourself. And you can check out my video. So LeBron, he's taken a hit in a lot of ways, and his reputation has taken a hit as well. I'm a sucker for political cartoons. That one you can read as well. The best thing about a political cartoon is any interpretation is right. However you look at it, however you interpret it, whatever you think it may mean, that's what you think. And to you, it could be right. To me, it could be absolutely wrong. I just dig political cartoons, especially good ones, as you see there, the photobomb. It's interesting because LeBron He emphasizes that he's a big part of Black Lives Matter and, taking a stance on social justice that promotes a lot of their statements and what they believe in. But the interesting thing is, the Marxists, they don't take the same stance for their athletes. And it seems like the athletes in the States are willing to do for a Marxist regime. Ask the Cuban baseball players. Ask El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. Remember him coming over to the Yankees in '98. This guy had a tough journey out of Cuba, as tough as anyone. Go Google it. I remember him talking about the Marxist regime in Cuba, singling out athletes and treating them specifically worse than most members of regular society. They kept them in check, the Marxists, the powers to be. Let the athletes know that their gift wasn't theirs. It was part of the state's. That term gaslighting seems to be going around. How about this guy? May he rest in peace. 27-year-old Iranian wrestler, Naveed Afkar, protested the government in Iran, was hung. So Marxist regimes are usually not fond of high-paid athletes who have a lot of power, especially protesting political causes. Just an interesting side note. Anyway, it'll be very interesting, as I'll show you again, Alex Villanueva's challenge to LeBron, to see if LeBron answers back. Villanueva said it himself, as he was also quoted as saying, it'll be interesting to see if LeBron answers, if he answers at all. So again, LeBron, sheriff, the head of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and law enforcement, they're more or less asking you to help them bring peace and to put your money where your mouth is. I think it would do a lot of good for America. I think in some ways it would even help start repairing just a little bit of that image that a lot of folks have about LeBron not being a patriot. Only good can come out of it. So we'll see what LeBron James decides to do, if he does anything. In the interim, I wish a speedy recovery, and my prayers go out to those two deputies for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Get well soon, and my prayers go out to their family as well. And for all the law enforcement out there in the United States, I'm Matt Levine saying thank you so much for all that you do. Stay safe.